What's up, fellow fishermen? This is episode 43 of the Midwest Angler Podcast. I'm Scott Sturman, and I'm joined by Matt Deitch, as always, and we've got some weather coming in.
Yeah, you know, all you guys that love the ice fishing stuff, we're starting to get some of that ice fishing feel weather, but it's still going to be a while before we have ice.
Yeah, well, at least it's going to cool down the water. Hopefully,
Right.
come November, early December, then we can start to actually get some freezing temperatures. I'm pumped. I'm jacked up for this ice fishing. Everyone, was talking about the chances of snow today. And for those of you guys listening, you'll be possibly listening next week, but we are recording this on October 10. And yeah, there's definitely places across South Dakota. I saw Rapid City got like 5 inches as of this morning, and I heard it was still snowing out there. And yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of pumped up to get the weather. I kind of wish a little bit of snow would come in right now. Yeah. Well, one thing about it, we can get snow right now, and it's gonna melt.
It's gonna melt and everything like that. I don't know. Just having it this early, sometimes there's other factors that come into play as far as having that snow this early. You know, for the farmers and everything like that.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, trying to get their field work done and all that.
That's true. We do need some fields to come out because goose hunting is getting slim. There's only like 5 fields out around our town here, and
there's nothing worse than having to shovel snow and leaves off your yard either. So
yeah, that's true too.
The yard work.
I'm lucky. I don't have any
trees.
I don't have any trees.
Well, I've got plenty of leaves if you want me to bring some over and spread them out so you can get the feel of it.
Yeah, I'm going to blow them. I got a leaf blower, a gas leaf blower. I'll blow them over on Troy's yard.
We're supposed to have a strong north wind this weekend, so it'll go right over Jeremy K's.
Jeremy K, we had to mention him, and there he goes. So now that we actually got him mentioned for the episode, we can go on to talk fishing.
We met our quota.
Yep. No, we got a cool episode again today, like every week. This week, Marcus Quam, Real Therapy Guide Service.
Up in Webster, South Dakota.
And if you're thinking, golly, I think I know that name, well, if you've ever watched In-Depth Outdoors, Marcus is on In-Depth Outdoors. He does a lot of the,
He's been on a few of the shows there with James Holst and up there when they're northeastern South Dakota.
Yep. So, yeah,
it's going to be fun to hear about catching some of them big perch. We talk about them all the time, but it's always fun talking to somebody that guides for those big things and is on them consistently like he is.
Right, yeah, he's not just doing it once or twice a year. He's doing it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we will get over to him. And here we are with Marcus Quam from Real Therapy Guide Service, and you may recognize him from the In-Depth Outdoors TV show. Marcus, how's it going?
Good. How about you boys?
Oh, not too bad tonight.
Good.
Now, we've got a couple questions that we're going to fire at you right off the bat that are totally not fishing related, but just to kind of break the ice here. First off, Marcus, what's your favorite flavor of ice cream?
Oh, man.
Don't say you don't like ice cream.
I love ice cream, but I've actually been on the keto diet for about 5 months here, so any of them right now?
Yeah, I can believe that.
I'm getting visions of a s'mores, some kind of blizzard thing that they make at the Purple Cow in Wabe right now.
I apologize for bringing it up. That was wrong of me.
No, I'm way past that right now.
No. All right.
Well, okay. Here's another one for you. What was your favorite song from high school?
Favorite song from high school? Oh man, I honestly don't know. I listen to a lot of everything and different types of music. I can't just pick one.
If we got in your pickup right now, what kind of music you listening to?
Country.
Nice. Right on. Well, with the high school question, speaking of high school, where did you grow up and how did you get into fishing, Marcus?
So I was born in Sioux Falls. I graduated from Del Rapids. I've been fishing ever since I could walk. My dad's got pictures of me from Lake Thompson in 1990. After that, it flooded with my first walleye, so he got me into fishing, and they moved out in the country probably when I was about 12 years old, and he kind of had his little hobby farm acreage there, so he helped me get a boat when I was 15.
I read that on the internet, that you got your first boat at 15.
Yeah, he kind of turned me loose, and He's a particular guy, so I had to get my own stuff. I couldn't use his truck or boat, so he let me get mine and turned me loose, and it kind of grew from there.
Now, what was it? Was it walleye that really struck the interest, or?
So when I was 16, I think I could get in the bass club then, and I worked for a manager at Burger King. That was part of a bass club there in South Dakota, so I got to go as a non-boater for a couple of years. So really, when I started fishing a lot, it was kind of bass and walleye, but I grew to love walleye more from bass fishing Horseshoe Lake up here in NorthEast South Dakota, when I realized that I could cast for walleyes just like I could for bass.
Right, yeah, those things, well, that's the fun thing about fishing in South Dakota for the walleyes, is it is very similar to bass fishing.
Yes.
So how did you, decide that you were going to get into the guiding part of it all?
That kind of came about because I always joked around in school that I was going to make my living fishing. I wanted to fish tournaments. But when I realized that breaking into that scene's tough, and I needed probably more money to do that than what I needed to start guiding. So taking people guiding was the next best option for me. It seemed like no matter what, my phone would ring 100 times a week from buddies wanting me to take them fishing that next weekend. I was like, I should just get paid for this.
So how long have you been doing it?
I want to say it's knocking on 7 or 8 years now. 7 for sure. This might be coming into 8. Full time for 4 years, but probably 7 years part time and all together.
All right, now your guide service, Real Therapy Guide Service, where are you located at?
I am right out of Webster, South Dakota.
And what lakes are up there around Webster?
So our main lakes would be Bitter and Waugh Bay, but we got a couple dozen of them within 10, 15 miles of town. You got Lynn, Reeds, Horseshoe. We got a bunch of them. I mean, there's lakes up here that I still haven't fished after living here for 4 years.
Yeah, there is a lot more up there than what people realize.
There is. I mean, it can be really good and it can be really bad. When you're struggling on one lake, you can hop to a bunch of other ones, but then you're like, all right, where do I go from here?
Right.
Do I drive by 5 of them to get to this one, or do I just hop to the next one?
Now I've watched you on YouTube, and obviously, yellow perch where you're at, the walleye, smallmouth bass, northern pike. If I was to book a trip with Real Therapy Guide Service, you pretty much cover everything, correct?
I do. I mean, I got some guys that come up here just for smallmouth bass trips, and then I got guys that obviously just want to catch walleyes. I try to kind of cater to everybody, but in that same sense, you'll have to kind of fluctuate your schedule depending on the time of year also. If you want to go perch fishing, your best option's the winter. If you want to go smallmouth fishing, I think May is the best month.
Right.
Now, what techniques do you mostly implement? I mean, I know you personally like to cast for walleyes. Is that predominantly what you do on a guide trip, or do you do a lot of trolling? What do you do?
I do a little bit of everything. My favorite's the casting, but I do pull a ton of lead core. I cover water fast. I can, it's easier some days. The casting can be tough. I mean, this last couple of weeks or this last weekend, we had wind 20, 30 mile an hour with 40 mile an hour gusts. So
yeah.
A lot of times it's a lot better just to put that rod in the rod holder and let it do its work. So I would say casting's probably my number one, but trolling would be a number 2. I love trolling too. I do a ton of it.
All right. Now, what about as far as ice fishing goes? A lot of moving around on the ice, obviously to find the perch.
Yeah, so I got the snow bear for ice fishing trips now. So I have 2 to 3 guys with me all the time, constantly moving. it's not punch 500 holes a day or 100 holes a day kind of deal, but with the perch, I found if we can try to stay in the area where they're at, a lot of times they're going to circle back through and come under your hole again.
Now, if you personally go out and you're not on a guide trip, do you like using the snow bear just as much, or would you rather just go around and hole hop and sit outside of a shack? Do you like being in a portable shack?
It all depends on the temperature anymore.
Yeah.
I never thought I'd own a snow bear. I kind of thought they were silly and overpriced, and I'm a hardcore fisherman, but honestly, everything that's bad about ice fishing, that took care of that. So I spent 16 days in it last year on Lake Winnipeg in March, and I fished out of it pretty much the whole time.
Nice.
Yeah, I'd like to go out on one, especially on Winnipeg. I don't know. You see them when we've been up fishing on Ponset. You see them snow bears flying around, and especially if it's windy and it's cold, it's just like, God dang it! I wonder if they've got room.
Yeah, I mean, after fishing out of trucks for so many years and then not being able to drive out, that snow bear, that thing's awesome. And don't get me wrong, I love being outside and watching the views, the sunrise and the sunset, but I'm a lot more efficient in that than I was sitting outside.
So how does the outlook for the ice fishing season look like up there in NorthEast South Dakota? Is it going to be a good year?
I don't know if this is going to be a great year. I think we had a good spawn this spring. I think there's a lot of young fish, but I think the effects of this high water are going to be 2 to 3 years down the road. I think we're going to see a lot of what we saw the last year or two. I haven't seen anything that makes me think different this summer yet, and I could be wrong. I mean, last year I thought that was going to be a horrible year. I had a feeling that it was going to be tough, and it ended up being really good. So I think the guys that are willing to move around and try a bunch of different stuff are going to have success, and that all depends on the snowfall too. But
Right.
If you're able to get around, but I think we'll see a big boom here in 2 or 3 years. Next couple of years, I think it's going to be okay, but a couple of years, it's going to be unbelievable.
And as far as the fall fishing, you already said that, the last couple weeks it's been pretty windy up there and been kind of a tough bite.
The bite's been absolutely horrible here. I think this is some of the worst fishing I've ever seen, and it's not that we don't have the fish, but with this high water also come lots of bait.
Right.
Lots of young of the year fish, and the fish we're catching, they're full. I mean, they're huge. They've ate way more ice cream than I ever did. I think yesterday, I cleaned one of them that was 19 and a half inches, and it had 6 3-inch perch or 7 3-inch perch in its belly, and it still hit a crank. So they're gorging themselves, and I think that has a lot to do with what, I don't know if guys have been hearing about the fishing being tough up here or not, but it hasn't been the easiest bite that I've seen in September.
Huh. Now, Marcus, you're also you're on In-Depth Outdoors TV. How did that come about?
So Andy Fioca and I kind of grew up hanging out together in Sioux Falls. We've probably been friends for close to 20 years, and he was doing some of the filming with James, and he lived in Aberdeen. And after he decided to move back to Idaho, he gave James my number and said, if you need anybody here, give me a call. And I was sitting on the ice a couple of years ago, and this Minnesota number rings in, which I think is probably somebody looking to book a trip, and here it is, James Holst.
Nice.
You want to do some filming with me, he says? Yeah.
Twist my arm.
Who's this again?
Yeah.
Now, what's the pressure like being out there with a camera in your face? I mean, is it a lot of pressure knowing that you got to produce, even on tough bite days, or, how does that work?
So the camera shuts the fish down every time. No matter what you had going, forget about it. We're going to do something different today. No, it's not too bad as long as the fishing's going all right. The hardest part for me is to stay upbeat and joyful when it is tough, because I don't like tough fishing. I like catching.
Oh yeah.
And that's probably my biggest downfall is trying to stay enthusiastic throughout the day when the fishing's getting tough. But it's part of it too. I mean, those and it's hard. Your timing's so hard getting everything done in 8 hours or 6 hours or 10 hours, whatever you have. And I don't know how James and those guys do it, running around doing shows week after week after week. You know, none of them are. I should say none of them, but very few of them are pre-recorded at all. They might have a couple sitting in the can for when they do have a tough week or whatever.
Right.
But those guys put on the miles, and I never really appreciated that until I actually did some filming with them.
Yeah. So what has been your most memorable show that you've been on or been a part of with In Depth Outdoors?
So I wasn't on the show, but 2 winters ago they went to Montana lake trout fishing, and I got to tag along behind the camera. And I've never ice fished for lake trout before. I've only ever caught them one other time on a fly-in trip, and the bite was so good. It was unbelievable. I think the first day we fished for 6-7 hours. It wasn't even a full day. And those guys had way more than what they needed for a show, and I think I caught 14 by myself sitting behind the camera on the outside holes.
Nice.
That was cool, but I don't know. The first time, no, it was the second time James came over. We did a smallmouth show, and I caught the biggest smallie I've ever caught. I'm pretty sure we didn't have a scale or a ruler in the boat, so I can't throw out any numbers or anything, but that was pretty cool too.
I'm pretty sure I just watched that show literally 45 minutes ago. But no, so now with being on a show like that, when you go rolling into Shields or, when you're out to eat, how often do you have it that people, kind of look at you? I mean, let's be honest. With your beard, you're a pretty recognizable person. I mean, how often do you get that?
Every other time, maybe.
Really?
Yeah, I do. Well, I don't go anywhere except for Webster and Shields and Sioux Falls, so it's always fishermen around fishermen. So
right.
But I'd say I get recognized quite often.
When last year, I met you for the first time at the Shields Ice Expo, and there was a guy here in town. Him and his son were walking by, and I saw him coming, and you and Matt were kind of talking. I was just kind of hanging back, and all of a sudden Dave cocked his head over, and he's like, "I was just watching that guy on TV last night," and that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Oh, it's fun. I mean, that guys kind of get a kick out of it, but I'm just a normal guy that gets to fish every day.
Right.
Just about every day. I mean, I didn't start out thinking I was going to be on TV or whatever. I just wanted to make my living being able to fish.
That's kind of
it's pretty humbling, really.
What's it like watching yourself on TV?
I think I'm kind of awkward.
I think everybody does.
Everyone no
or
matter
listens
what.
to themselves.
Right. I don't think my voice sounds like that when I'm saying it, but when I hear it, it's different. So
yep.
That's kind of weird, but some of the shows are fun to go look back on, and other ones you're like, man, that was a struggle. That day was horrible, but it looks good, I guess. So we got it done.
Now, have you ever fished internationally? I mean, have you ever saltwater fished, or are you mostly just kind of up here in the upper Midwest?
Mostly Midwest. I've never seen the ocean, so I have not got to fish it. I go to Canada quite often, but other than that, it's here in the Midwest.
Huh. Right on.
I try to go to Canada, I'd say at least 2 to 5 times a year.
Really? Mostly on them fly-in trips?
No, I've only ever done one of those. I always try to go to Winnipeg. The last couple of years, I've done Nipigon in June, and see where else. I'm going to try to do Tobin this month. Yeah, I mean, whenever I get a free time or a free week or 5-day period, I try to go somewhere and fish. So,
do you have like a fishing bucket list that places that you would like to go?
Tobin, that's one.
Yeah.
I want to do Last Mountain. I have a couple. I just have a goal to catch a walleye over 15 or 16 pounds. Like, I have a 15-pound benchmark.
Well,
so I really want to get that done.
It sounds like you know the guy that could put you on them right now. It sounds like Andy catches some big ones out there in Idaho.
They do. Their timing is just horrible for mine.
Oh,
so the best time is February. And that's kind of when I'm busy, too. And I really don't want to pull my boat through mountain passes in February.
I don't blame you at all.
That's I've been trying to figure out how to make that trip work the last couple of years, but I don't know I don't know when that'll happen. It'll happen sometime, but I just don't know if it'll be in the near future. I think I'll have to stick with trying to do a Tobin or Last Mountain in the fall. I do Erie, or I've gone to Erie the last couple of years, and last week of March, first week of April. I kind of get around. I've been to Skakawea a couple times this year.
Right on.
Yeah. What's the craziest thing you've ever had happen in the boat or in your snow bear on a guide trip?
On a guide trip, the craziest thing. I've seen quite a few cell phones go down a hole. That's not that uncommon. Let's see.
And then do they look at you and kind of give you that look like, what are you going to do? You going to get that out for me?
Well, last year I had one guy drop his 3 times, and it missed the hole the first 2 times and kind of skidded under the snow bear and, past the hole, which the guy was able to reach under and grab it. The 3rd time, it straddled a 6-inch hole and just kind of went right across it. It's like, you better put that away.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
I'll take the pictures. You
I'm trying to think of something crazy. I've had a lot of fun moments of different things. Picking out anything crazy, I have seen one guy go out of the boat. I've had to pull hooks out of people. I've had to pull a lot of hooks out of me, one out of the back of my head. Every day's different.
Right.
You got to tell us the story of how a hook gets in the back of your head. There's got to be a story to that.
Well, it was one of those windy days where it's blowing 30, 35 miles an hour, and we were pitching a line with countdowns, and the guy, he was quite a bit bigger than me. He cocked back and let her have it, and the rod snapped. He didn't know what happened, and I took a knee.
Oh,
I was like, why are you hitting me? Until I realized I had I think a number 7 countdown. There was 2 trebles buried all the way to where they met in the back of my head.
Oh.
And luckily it was so windy I wasn't wearing a hat because it kept blowing off. But so we were able to do the fishing line trick and get that out.
No way. No way.
Yeah, I don't think Scott would let me grab some fishing line and yank a hook out of the back of his head or anything.
Not a chance.
It feels way better when it comes out than when it's sitting in there.
No, I bet.
I don't know. I think I would cut the line and that trip would be done. And I don't know. I think they'd have to put me under.
It wasn't too bad. But, yeah, it seems like it goes in streaks. One week I went for 3 weeks straight. I had a hook or 2 in my hand for those 3 weeks. I don't know what it was. It was just no matter what I did, I put grabbing a fish or putting a different lure on, setting a rod down. I got a hook in my hand. It was like, man, this is a bad day. It's like Friday and I got another hook in my hand.
I don't know if I'm like just not a real fisherman or what, but I mean, I've never had a hook in my finger. I've never hooked myself ever. I don't know. Have you?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Well, my hands hurt all the time after you get done with a fishing trip. I can't imagine what it'll be like for you as like a guide. I mean, handling not only the fish, but yeah, changing out lures and stuff like that. They always seem to be poking you.
People kind of make fun of me sometimes when I wear gloves at the cleaning station, but I'm like, I do this like 5 days a week. I got like 60 perch to clean there. Their gills are kind of sharp. I'll take the gloves.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Now, if somebody wants a chance to possibly hook you in the back of the head or just go out fishing with you, how does somebody get a hold of you?
So I have a Facebook page, and that'll have links to my website, email, or my cell phone number on it. Cell phone number is 605-940-9943. And Facebook is Real Therapy Guide Service. Website's realtherapyguideservice.com.
Right on. Do you got any sponsors that you want to give a shout out to or anything?
Well, I do help out Shields, and they help me out a lot. I also have my boat dealer. They treat me awesome. I mean, it seems like no matter what, every other week I'm dropping one of my boats off to get something done, and that would be Hell Marine in Aberdeen. And no matter what, they get me taken care of. I do run Yarcraft boats with Mercury motors, Humminbird electronics.
And you're running 2 of them?
3.
Nice.
I have my main boat, my Yarcraft, and then I have a puddle jumper, my 17-foot tiller, and then I'm pretty sure my 3rd boat is done. I just haven't got to do it, but this is going to be something new for this season. So I picked up a 27-foot tri-tune, and we did a custom floor plan on it for fishing.
Awesome.
I've been seeing more people talking about going to them tri-tunes.
Yeah, for family trips, corporate trips, whatever, it seems like, I'm having another guy that I know that guides a little bit part-time giving me a hand with another boat, and it's, we got 6 people, so one boat or both boats will have 3 or it's 5 where you're split 3 and 2. Well, instead of doing that, I'm going to put everybody in the same boat. I know a lot of the guides out at the river have been doing that for a few years, and I kind of made a jump here and decided to try that, so I'm pretty excited about that. I haven't got it on the water except for the test drive, but I think they got all my goodies put on it. I ended up putting the new 300 Verado on there with a 15-horse EFI kicker, 112 Toroa with I-Link, a couple Helix 9s, Mega. It's pretty cool. It's all set up for fishing and dual live wells. And I think there's 4 captain's chairs, a couple fishing chairs, and 2 small couches in there. So it should be pretty fun.
How many people will you be able to bring out in that?
I'm not sure. I'm kind of looking at that 6-8 people, probably 8, but it's rated for 18.
Oh, wow.
So I don't know.
I don't know if you want 18 guys whipping around number 7 countdowns in that thing.
I don't think we're going to be casting out of that, but we're going to stagger a lot of snap weights and planer boards and trolling rods. I don't know. We'll try to run a dozen rods and call it the walleye combine. I don't know.
There you go.
Nice. Nice.
So, yeah, next year should be an interesting year with that.
Yeah, for sure. You're set up for any trip that comes your way. So.
Yeah, we're kind of one-stop shop with Snow Bear and the Tri-Tune and the fishing boats now. So.
Right on.
I can't believe it's grown into this in 4 years already, but.
Well, when you're a quality guide and, have people out there catching big fish all the time and having a good time, it's going to grow fast.
Yeah, you're in the right area.
Yeah, we're lucky up here.
Yeah, well, you take a little luck every once in a while, too. So.
That's right.
Well, Marcus, we really appreciate you stopping in to chat with us. unless you've got something else, we'll let you get on with your night. You getting kind of late, so.
No, I appreciate you guys having me. It was fun. Anybody has any questions or needs anything, you know how to get a hold of me.
Yep, I'll tag you in the link on Facebook. So, yeah, well, like I said, we appreciate it. Talk to you. You going to be at any of the ice shows this year?
So I don't know what's going on right now. I've got a couple dates jotted down, but my schedule is, I know I have a couple conflicts already. And my problem is I try to run until I can't. Yeah. I got a couple of deer tags I want to fill too in between here, so I really don't know what's going on. I'll be at Shields at their ice expo, but other than that, after that, I'm running pretty hard. So if I do decide to go somewhere, I'll probably post it. But as of right now, I'm still trying to get through open water trips.
Yeah. Well, then we'll see you at Shields. But, yeah, like I said, we really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to chat with us. And, yeah, we'll see you around.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Thanks, guys.
See ya. And there he goes, Marcus Quam, Real Therapy Guide Service, and, of course, In-Depth Outdoors. It was really cool to hear what he had to say about up in NorthEast South Dakota and
all the different conditions this year. I mean, they've had high water all summer long. It's from the spring all through summer. It's been really high and throughout the fall, and just how much it affects the bite up there, and with all the forage base able to move all over the place, and those big fish are getting full on them, so they're not really putting their nose up at any of the lures.
You know, for me being down here and from Iowa, whatever, that's just something that I don't really think about. You know, we've had Okoboji get high before,
right?
But not ever to the point where, you know, it can really blow out like it can down there. You know, we don't ever have a lake get so high that it overflows or runs over a road.
Right.
You know, that's a totally different part of the world, really, you know, and just the way that their lakes are made, you know, in spots that used to be cornfields, used to be pastures, and
there's people don't realize that with, like you said, with northeastern South Dakota, a lot of those lakes are just old potholes that just flooded out and have just grown and grown and grown. I mean, there's a lot of them that have, if you're driving around on the graph, you mark a combine or an old tractor. Some of them have old farmsteads right in the middle of the lake. It's pretty crazy, and you know, that's why with all the meandering and non-meandering water thing that they had a couple years ago, and I mean, it's still going on. I think you don't hear as much about it anymore, but I think they finally kind of got some of the regulations, and people kind of know which ones are on limits and off limits and everything now. So
Yep. No, yeah, like we mentioned earlier, we are recording this episode on October 10.
Which just so happens to be your birthday.
Yeah, my birthday. 31 years young today.
31.
You know, I was thinking about it. I've been in the workforce. I'm 31 years old. I've been in the workforce for 12 years now. And it's like, you know, golly, yeah, man, I got a lot of miles under my belt. And then I kind of think about it. I've got to totally double my age yet in the workforce before I can even tap my brakes at retirement.
Right.
You know, I'll be 62, and you know, even that is young for somebody that does what I do, you know, unless I just happen to win the lottery or
that's what
something.
I was going to say. I need to start playing it to win it.
Yeah,
so.
You can't win if you don't play. That's right. A fact.
I don't know, just go buy a scratcher every once in a while, I suppose.
Yeah, no,
every once in a while we'll play the Powerball when it gets up there. So.
We had a guy at work that used to come around and collect $2 from everybody when the Powerball got big. And then he would go and buy the tickets, and we always joked that if Jeff doesn't come to work in the morning, we know we won.
Right.
He's out in I don't know, somewhere out west waiting to cash in our cash, but
we do something like that too.
Yeah.
But I always say I win either way, whether I play or not. I said if they win and I don't play, I never have to see any of them for the rest of my life again because they're all going to retire.
Right.
But if I win with them, then I never have to see them. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. No, but speaking of which, like we mentioned in the intro, there's a lot of places in South Dakota that are really getting a lot of snow right now.
Right.
And So I dug around on the internet this morning just for a little bit of something to talk about. And the earliest snow ever in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, September 18. That was back in 1929. And in Minneapolis, it was September 15 back in 1916. And the heaviest snow that we've ever had real early, like over 5 inches, 11.5 inches back October 31, 1991. And Matt, you say you remember that. I would have been 3.
Yeah.
So
I'd been 10.
You'd been 10?
Yep. Remember having to shovel off the sidewalk to go trick-or-treating. Didn't stop us.
No. If there's Snicker bars around, you're going to get them.
Dang right. Little fat Matt, he'll tunnel through anything. I look like that gopher on Caddyshack. Neighbors are like, "Oh, here comes Matt looking for a recess."
Yeah. No, up in Minneapolis, though, October 29, 1905. And that was only 5.5 inches. And maybe they got hit with that same storm on October 31, but obviously it didn't show that because they already had October 29 down. But no, we really don't have it that bad.
No.
No matter how bad we get it, really. But
in the forecast, I think for the next couple weeks, looks like it's supposed to get into the 50s, the 40s, kind of that upper 40s range, some fall weather that we need.
Right. We've got a bass tournament this weekend.
We do. And it's going to be an interesting one as far as the weather goes. Hopefully by the time people listen to this, we'll have some good news to report and everything like that as far as us finishing pretty well in those 2 tournaments. So
yeah, they're predicting 45-mile-an-hour gusts on Saturday.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like a wind chill of like 19, 20 degrees and 40-mile-an-hour gusts. So
when you think of bass fishing, though, that's the type of weather you think about.
I'm just kidding. So.
Oh man, I wish you listeners could have seen Matt's face there. No,
but
that is not bass fishing weather. That's sit in the house and eat chili by the fireplace weather. But
it's going to be get the ice fishing suits out and all the ice fishing gear. Make sure it's all right because we're going to be wearing it on Saturday.
Right.
I'm sure.
Matt is actually winning in the lead right now for Angler of the Year.
Right. Yeah. It's kind of like how the point system goes. What do we fish? 7 tournaments?
That could be.
And we throw 2 out. So it'll be interesting. We just got to go out there and fish and just try to catch fish.
Right. No, you can do it.
Well, yeah. I mean, if we can get on the bites that we've had in the last couple tournaments on Okoboji, it should be a good weekend for us.
Right.
For both of us. I mean, both of our last tournaments on Okoboji, you finished second in one, I finished first, and then vice versa in the other one. So.
Right. No, hopefully we can crack them again, and hopefully, well, if you're listening to this, hopefully we'll have some Facebook posts over the weekend letting you guys know how we do, and then when you're listening to this, you'll be like, yeah, hey, I already knew that, but
yeah, and it's just been fun fishing with that club again. And,
yep.
Yeah.
No. I guess with that's about all we got, right?
Yeah. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the show. Keep checking out our Facebook posts. Scott's doing a great job of putting a lot of things up there on daily stuff. And if you got any questions, you want to hear anything, you got an idea of maybe a guest that you'd like us to try to get an interview with, just hit us up on Facebook or Instagram sometime. We're always pretty quick to respond to all those messages that you guys are sending.
Yep. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button.
Sure.
Do all that junk. All right. See ya.